In the heart of the medieval Balkans, a new force emerged, the Bulgarian Empire. Born from a mixture of Slavic settlers and Turkic Bulgars, it grew rapidly, challenging the supremacy of Constantinople. From its earliest days, the Bulgarian Empire stood as a rising rival to the Byzantine world. Strategically located between the Danube and the mountains, it commanded trade routes and fortified towns. This was not just a tribe of warriors, but the foundation of a state that would shape medieval Eastern Europe. As Byzantine emperors looked north with unease, they recognized that their greatest threat was no longer Persia or the Arabs. It was their neighbors across the Danube.
The origins of the Bulgarian Empire trace back to Khan Asparuh, who led his people across the Danube in the late 7th century. In 681 AD, Byzantium was forced to recognize the Bulgarians as an independent power, marking the birth of the First Bulgarian Empire. This was a humiliating concession for the mighty Byzantine Empire, long accustomed to dominance in the medieval Balkans. Under the Khans, the Bulgarians fortified their steppe traditions with Slavic culture, creating a society both warrior-like and agrarian. Constantinople now faced a new reality. Its frontier lands were no longer under imperial command. The Byzantines had inadvertently helped establish a kingdom that would become one of their fiercest rivals in medieval Eastern Europe.
By the early 9th century, the Bulgarian Empire became the terror of the medieval Balkans under Khan Asparuh. Known as a fierce warrior and lawgiver, he defeated the Byzantines in battle after battle. In 811, the Byzantine Emperor Nicephorus I marched north but was annihilated at Pliska, where Krum displayed his skull as a drinking cup. This shocking defeat humiliated Byzantium, proving that the Bulgarians were not only raiders, but masters of statecraft and war. Krum issued strict laws that stabilized society and strengthened his rule. For Byzantium, the Bulgarian Empire was now more than a nuisance. It was a formidable rival, shaping medieval Eastern Europe.
A turning point came under Boris I, who reigned in the mid-9th century. Seeking to unify his diverse people and strengthen ties with Europe, he converted the Bulgarian Empire to Christianity. This monumental shift brought the empire closer to Byzantine traditions, yet also gave Bulgarians their own church and alphabet. The creation of the Cyrillic script, pioneered by disciples of Saints Cyril and Methodius, became a cornerstone of medieval Eastern Europe. It allowed Slavic peoples to read scripture in their own tongue, fueling both literacy and identity. Byzantium thought it had softened its rival, but in reality, Christianity empowered Bulgaria to rival Constantinople, not only in arms, but in culture.
The Bulgarian Empire reached its zenith under Tsar Simeon the Great, ruling from 893 to 927. Simeon envisioned himself as an equal to the Byzantine emperor and sought to make Bulgaria the cultural and political center of medieval Eastern Europe. His armies besieged Constantinople, and his scholars created a flourishing school of literature in Preslav. Known as the Golden Age of Bulgarian culture, this era saw a blossoming of art, architecture, and spiritual thought. To Byzantium, Simeon was both a threat and an imitation, a Slavic emperor who dared to claim imperial grandeur. Under his reign, the medieval Balkans became a battleground of prestige and power.
The rivalry between the Bulgarian Empire and Byzantium burned fiercely in the 10th century. Simeon's successors continued campaigns against the empire, seeking to dominate the medieval Balkans. The Byzantine emperors, in turn, launched their own offensives, sometimes forging alliances with the Magyars or Rus to weaken Bulgaria. Castles fell, towns burned, and borders shifted with each war. Yet neither side could achieve total victory. This grinding struggle defined the region, with Constantinople and Preslav locked in a duel for supremacy. The medieval Balkans had become the chessboard of Eastern Europe, with Bulgaria and Byzantium as the chief players.
In the late 10th century, Bulgaria found new strength under Tsar Samuel. He rallied his people after Byzantine advances and forged a powerful realm stretching from the Danube to the Adriatic. Samuel's Bulgaria became a serious contender once again, challenging the Byzantine emperors head-on. Yet in 1014, disaster struck at the Battle of Clydion, where Emperor Basil II crushed Samuel's army and blinded thousands of prisoners. Samuel died soon after, broken by grief, and his empire crumbled. For Byzantium, it was a final triumph over their greatest rival. But the legend of Samuel lived on, a symbol of resistance in the medieval Balkans. Basil II, remembered as the Bulgar Slayer, completed the conquest of Bulgaria in 1018. With Samuel dead and resistance broken, the Byzantine Empire absorbed Bulgarian lands into its dominion. Yet this was no easy victory. It had taken decades of relentless campaigns across the medieval Balkans. Basil stationed garrisons, built fortresses, and imposed Byzantine administration. Still, the memory of Bulgarian independence lingered in every village and mountain stronghold. For Byzantium, it was a moment of glory. For the Bulgarian people, it was the beginning of a century-long struggle to reclaim their empire. Although Byzantine rule prevailed, the spirit of the Bulgarian Empire did not die. Local nobles, monks, and peasants kept alive traditions of independence. In remote monasteries, the Slavic liturgy preserved identity against Byzantine assimilation. Rebellions flared from time to time, each quickly crushed, but never forgotten. Medieval Balkans remained restless, for the Bulgarians had tasted sovereignty and would not surrender it forever. This undercurrent of resistance laid the groundwork for a future revival. Byzantium controlled the land, but not the soul of the Bulgarian people.
In 1185, the dream of independence reignited. Two brothers, Asen and Peter, led a rebellion that carved out the Second Bulgarian Empire. Once again, the medieval Balkans felt the thunder of Bulgarian armies rising against Byzantine rivals. The new capital at Tarnovo became a beacon of Slavic culture and power. Byzantine emperors, weakened by internal strife and crusader threats, could not suppress the revival. Bulgaria re-emerged as a dominant force, shaking the foundations of medieval Eastern Europe. For a second time, Constantinople faced a formidable northern adversary.
One of the most formidable rulers of the Second Bulgarian Empire was Tsar Kaloyan.
He exploited the chaos following the Fourth Crusade, when Constantinople itself fell to the Latins in 1204. At the Battle of Adrianople in 1205, Kaloyan's army destroyed the Latin knights, proving Bulgaria's might in medieval Eastern Europe. Though he styled himself as the Roman Slayer, Kaloyan also navigated alliances with the papacy, showing the diplomatic skill of the Bulgarian court. Byzantium's rivals had multiplied, but Bulgaria remained one of the fiercest powers in the medieval Balkans.
Tarnovo, the capital of the Second Bulgarian Empire, became a jewel of the medieval Balkans. Perched on steep hills with stone walls and golden-domed churches, it rivaled Constantinople in splendor. Scholars, artists, and clerics filled its streets, making it a hub of Slavic learning. The Patriarchate of Tarnovo stood as a spiritual rival to the Byzantine Church, guiding the faithful of Bulgaria. To medieval Eastern Europe, Tarnovo symbolized the rebirth of a nation once thought destroyed.
Under Tsar Ivan Asen II, ruling from 1218 to 1241, the Second Bulgarian Empire reached its height. Through careful diplomacy and decisive battles, he extended Bulgarian influence across the Balkans. Trade flourished, and Tarnovo became a crossroads of merchants from Venice, Genoa, and the East. This was a time of relative peace and prosperity, when the Bulgarian Empire rivaled Byzantium not only with armies, but with wealth and culture. Ivan Asen II's reign was remembered as the last great golden age of Bulgaria.
After Ivan Asen II's death, the Bulgarian Empire weakened. Internal rivalries and external threats strained the kingdom. The Mongols, sweeping into Eastern Europe, forced Bulgaria into tribute. Byzantium, though weakened, regained strength and challenged Bulgarian power. The once mighty empire began to fracture, caught between rival claimants to the throne and the pressures of foreign invaders. The medieval Balkans once again shifted balance, and Bulgaria's dominance slowly faded.
As the 14th century dawned, a new power rose in the east, the Ottoman Turks. Both the Byzantine and Bulgarian empires faced the growing tide of Ottoman expansion. Bulgaria, weakened by internal strife, could not resist their advance. Fortress by fortress, the Ottomans spread across the Balkans, threatening to consume all of medieval Eastern Europe. The rivalry with Byzantium was overshadowed by a new and far greater danger.
In 1393, the Ottoman Sultan's forces besieged Tarnovo, the proud capital of the Bulgarian Empire. For 3 months the defenders held out, but finally the city fell. Churches were burned, nobles executed, and the patriarch sent into exile. Tarnovo's fall symbolized the end of Bulgarian sovereignty. Though small principalities survived for a time, the empire itself was gone. For Byzantium, too, the Ottoman threat loomed ever closer.
The last remnant of the Bulgarian Empire was the city of Vidin. In 1396, during the failed crusade of Nicopolis, Vidin too succumbed to Ottoman power. With its fall, Bulgarian independence ended completely. What had once been a great rival of Byzantium was now absorbed into the growing Ottoman world. The medieval Balkans, long contested between Bulgarian Empire and Byzantine rivals, entered a new chapter under the crescent.
Though the Bulgarian Empire fell, its memory endured. The Cyrillic alphabet, born in its monasteries, spread across Eastern Europe and became the script of Slavic nations. The golden age of Tsar Simeon inspired later generations, while Tarnovo's churches kept alive the flame of faith. Bulgaria's centuries of rivalry with Byzantium had shaped the medieval Balkans, leaving a legacy of culture, war, and resilience. For Byzantium, the Bulgarian Empire was its most enduring rival in medieval Eastern Europe. Unlike Persians, Arabs, or Crusaders, the Bulgarians were constant neighbors. They shared borders, faith, and culture, yet fought bitterly for supremacy. This rivalry defined centuries of medieval Balkans history. The Bulgarians challenged Byzantium not only with swords, but with schools, churches, and kings who claimed equal glory.
Thus ended the saga of the Bulgarian Empire, medieval rivals of Byzantium. From the Khans of the steppes to the Tsars of Tarnovo, Bulgaria rose, flourished, and fell beneath the shadow of empire. Yet its story was more than conquest. It was the creation of a Slavic Christian civilization that shaped Eastern Europe. The Byzantine Empire eventually fell, and the Ottomans reigned. But the memory of Bulgaria's power, its culture, and its defiance remained. The medieval Balkans were never the same again.